Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary live stream pre-stream? Yeah, that's what we're doing here. We're just about to get the show started. Got a good show for you today. We made it through another week. Just wanted to give everybody a little bit of a reminder here. Twitch is still suspended. We have not heard back on the appeal yet. So remember, if you're on YouTube, you're probably gonna get just half the show. You're gonna want to move on over to D Live is our suggestion. Let's see here. There's rumors that YouTube is lightening up on their COVID I don't know, community policies or whatever, but we're not going to test the waters today. We will in the future probably, but head on over to canarycry.party. You can find links to all of our resources, so many great resources, including signing up for the newsletter. Now, I know what you're thinking. Newsletter, boring. No, it's not boring. It's an exciting, extravagant newsletter. It goes out before every live show. Some important things in that newsletter are the sources. You got links to all the sources that we use during the show. You also have the art from producers, as well as meetups and occasionally other announcements. So it's a very useful tool on top of just keeping you posted. If we get, banned or suspended off of something, that'll be the first place to find out. Stuff like that. So go sign up for the newsletter there at canarycry.party and explore the rest of our exciting links into the world of Canaryverse. Okay, we're going to get the show started here. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is August 26, 2022. We are live to tape on episode 527. And today, Bill's John. And signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, here to bring you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with the well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's emergent phenomena, is expressed in a jingle.
Done. Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man. Wow, it's been a while. Been a while since we've heard the bidet jingle. That's fun. What a blast from the past. Well, do you want a rundown for today's show, Gonz?
Run it down.
Here we go. And we're off. We're going to be starting the show off with a little check-in on sewer surveillance. Have you heard of it? Well, if you've been listening to this show for any amount of time, you certainly have. Then, of course, FLIPPY. The FLIPPY update is going to be taking us to Ukraine. How robots are helping liberate the Eastern Bloc there. Then we'll be jumping into Trump. Of course, we gotta figure out what's going on over in Trump world. Things are... There's an update today that is extraordinarily strange. And then, of course, we can't check in with Trump without checking in with, yes, that's right, hairy legs, Joe Rogan Biden announcing a new head of the Secret Service. Billionaires are selling their art. Zuckerberg is going on Joe Rogan. The murder of Japan's prime minister has ties to mainstream news outlets in the United States.
And religion.
Pfizer is being sued by Moderna, and SOS. We're using exclamation points when it comes to climate change now. These are just little morsels that you got to stick around for. But Gans, start us off with our lead story.
The four horsemen of the technopolis.
Anytime you see the four horsemen, it's something special.
Today's leading horseman.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein, right into the vein, right into the vein.
And it pertains...
We'll control them with toileting.
Sewer surveillance.
Yay!
As Basil mentioned at the rundown there, we were one of the... I think we can say we were the first people to, at least in this kind of alt-whatever media...
To take it seriously.
The Israeli study that was doing sewer surveillance during, like, right after the shutdowns and everything. I'm sure, people can find articles and stuff before then, but I don't think anybody was paying attention to the sewer when it came to surveillance, but we were.
Right.
We took it seriously early on, but now everyone's kind of talking about it. So this comes as no surprise to those of you who have been with us for at least a couple years. This is the Samsung newsroom, and the headline: Samsung develops prototype, quote, reinvented toilet in partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So, yeah, hey, Koreans.
Reinvented.
Reinvented. Samsung Electronics today announced that it has completed a project in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in response to the Reinvent the Toilet Challenge. Hadn't heard of that one, but maybe look up the hashtag. Maybe Bill's doing a dance
these
or something.
kids and their TikTok dances. The toilet challenge is a very, very trendy TikTok dance, I think.
Samsung Advanced Institute of Technology, SITE, the research and development arm of Samsung Electronics, began working with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on the reinvented toilet in 2019, of course, before the lockdowns and everything. It was good timing.
Good timing.
And recently finished the development of core technologies for the toilet and successfully developed and tested a prototype. And it talks about the event and the people involved here, some names. And then it says this: Samsung plans to offer royalty-free licenses of patents related to the project to developing countries during the commercialization stage. How nice of them.
Yeah.
So Samsung will also continue to provide close consultation to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to help bring the technologies to mass production. The two organizations will work together to identify industry partners willing to commercialize the technology after making the design more efficient for mass production.
That's interesting. They are truly that term core technologies.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
They've changed the core technologies
Of a toilet.
It's
about time.
How could you change? Look, Samsung, Bill, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Wow.
How much core technology changes could a toilet even
listen,
handle?
When did the transition from the outhouse to actual toilets happen? That's in the last, 100 years, 200 years, something like that? Or do you think they go? There's probably 100. A version of it in ancient Rome or something like that, right?
Well, it depends. If you think of toilet as taking the sewage away from your home.
Yeah, didn't Rome have a system?
That's fairly new. That's
I know they had some kind of water. Maybe they didn't have a sewage system, but they had some kind of water thing.
Well, they did. They had the aqueduct, and they had sewers, but not how we think of them. Okay. I don't know. The toilet.
Come on, why don't you know the history of toiletry?
The core. I've actually gone into the history of the toilet. The core technologies that have now been reinvented by Bill and Melinda Gates and Samsung is barely 100 years old. I'd say.
Let's hear more. During 3 years of research and development, 3 years. SITE worked on the basic design and development, developed the components and modular technology, leading to the successful development of a prototype for household use. The product is energy efficient with effluent treatment capacity and meets the effluent, EFFLUENT. Yeah, not affluent.
Look, energy efficient. A toilet is the most energy efficient appliance in your home.
It uses a gravity.
There's no energy. Yeah, it's just gravity. What is it, using less gravity?
And meets the performance required by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for commercialization for a household use reinvented toilet. The core technologies developed by Samsung include heat treatment, which is they've had that. And
like a warming seat?
Sure.
Like a heated toilet seat?
Yeah, they've had that. I don't know why that's so new. Okay. And bioprocessing technologies to kill pathogens from human waste and make the released effluent and solids safe for the environment.
Oh, maybe the heat treatment is like it fries the sewage before it leaves. Yeah,
remember Bill Bill did that thing where he, drank his own urine or something like that.
Oh, they extracted water from his excrement, and then he drank it like a very cool guy.
Yeah. This is how you save the world, folks.
Yeah, and he took like a little Obama sip. Right. Remember Obama sipping the water in Flint, Michigan? That was Bill Gates sipping his poo-poo water.
The system enables the treatment. The system enables the treated water to be fully recycled. Solid waste is dehydrated, so similar to frying it. There's dehydrated, dried, and combusted into ashes, while liquid waste is treated.
Incinerated.
Yeah.
Wow.
While liquid waste is treated through a biological purification process.
There is no way on God's green earth that a toilet that filters everything, dehydrates your excrement, turns it into jerky, and then sets it on fire and purifying your urine. There's no way that all of that can be done with less energy than the gravity-fed toilet of today. This makes no sense unless the combustion of the excrement has a heat capture electricity generating device in there. You could burn the excrement to create the electricity to power the purifier. And
my phone's dying. Well, go eat some.
A little USB drive on the side there. That'd be great.
Launched in 2011, the Reinvent the Toilet Challenge is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's initiative to develop transformative toilet technologies that can safely and effectively manage human waste. So they've been at it for a decade. According to the World Health Organization and UNICEF, about 3.6 billion people are forced to use unsafe sanitation facilities, resulting in 500,000 children under 5 dying every year from diarrheal diseases caused by limited access to safe water and hygiene. So he's saving the world, folks. Back off, okay? He's saving the world.
It is interesting. It's kind of like an off-grid type of concept. It sounds like what they're trying to do is get rid of the need for a sewer system. So your waste doesn't go into like a city sewer system. It just gets all handled there in your house.
I'll tell you this. The problem with the sewer surveillance, the way they do it now, where they go into the sewage system and they kind of test for COVID or whatever they're doing, is it's all kind of mixed together, right? Yeah. With this, I think Samsung, I'm not saying that they have this in there. This is just my thinking, has the ability to sort of analyze the waste before they
absolutely
change it. And then all that data gets stored onto Samsung servers. So they have... Yeah.
That's a great point. I mean, you talk about the data economy that we're in, where data is the most valuable resource now. Data being the new oil. You have countries fighting over data. You've got wars being fought over data. You know, it's the new most important thing. Your excrement, it really is like one of the last things that they can datatize or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, data mine. So without a doubt, I have 0% doubt that this toilet will have some sort of data mining, data collection technology. And yeah, of course it's going to include whatever, an automatic PCR test to look for polio and
that's the
COVID.
thing. You can have upgrades, right? We got to get the software update on the toilet to make sure, you know, the latest pandemic. Because that's really, it's one place where there's privacy being invaded, number one, but also, you know, everybody has to do, you know, and so it's a great place to sort of test what you may or may not have in your body. So
Mike Guyver in the YouTube chat says, isn't Samsung known for their hidden cameras? They are definitely known for being data criminals. Yeah. I mean, they have their smart refrigerators, they have their smart toasters, they make smart appliances is what they do. And yeah, the data is sort of the back room monetization. And on one hand, they will justify it by saying, hey, that's how we can make the toilets so cheap. You know, that's how we can make them cheap enough to give to whatever developing countries, things like that. Because it's all paid for on the back end with the data, baby.
Well, if they use fiberglass, they can turn them into gummy bears. Right. And then you got the whole circular economy.
Yeah. Turn the toilet. Once the toilet's done, setting your waste on fire and sending all your info to Bill Gates, you can melt it down and make some lollipops like the wind turbines. Well, that's very exciting, Gons. What a brave new world we live in.
Yes, brave new world on this Friday.
It's Friday, It's Friday, It's Friday. It's Friday,
Yeah. You gonna learn today?
Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got
Are you not entertained?
It's Friday.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
That's right. It's Friday. We made it through the week. I'm very excited about this fact. And Gons, what are you looking forward to the most this weekend?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing exciting.
See that?
Yeah, that's the life
Icebreaker questions, folks.
Sure, yeah.
This is how we get to know each other.
Well, you know, my brother-in-law is in Vegas. That's fun. He's there for the Star Trek convention.
That is very fun.
Yeah, so
I want to go to the Star Trek convention. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm nervous for this weekend because I gotta finish getting ready for the Burning Man trip.
Oh yeah, you got to get ready for your heresy. The
mission. The mission begins. The research will continue. You know, it only occurred to me right before the show. It would have been fun. There is for those who don't know, if you missed the other episodes this week, for 8 years now, researching transformative events influenced and mentored by our buddy Carl Teichribb, we have been exploring the concept of Burning Man, not just as, a bunch of naked hippies in the desert, but as a transformative event, which has rippling effects throughout society. But also a sort of mecca of social change that we have seen, again, ripple throughout society, but also show up in places like the World Economic Forum, the Davos retreat. We gave a big old long spiel. I'm not going to do it again. Last episode about how some of the lectures that I attended in 2018 and 19 included people who eventually were literally bringing psychedelics to Davos and, helping Klaus Schwab release his chakras with ecstatic dance and psychedelic mushrooms, stuff like that. So it's a very important event, and it's one that, as we've seen, is so
polarizing.
Yeah. Thank you. It's packed with mythos and emotion for people all over the world, especially some of our listeners who are not happy about this. And I understand it could have been surprising to hear that this was that we were doing this again out of nowhere if you didn't know that we had been doing it for 8 years already. We even lost some monthly support from one person in particular, but who knows. So anyways, I say all that to say this weekend I'm packing bags, making sure I can survive out there because I'm looking forward to getting back to work and bringing back some reports. We're going to be trying, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I'm still going to jump in and stream live for the shows next week, as well as creating some content. So at the very least, if there's some sort of satellite explosion and Elon cannot deliver Starlink to Burning Man, which would just be atrocious, I will at least be sending in video reports and things that you will get to enjoy all through next week, as well as going to be doing some interviews and just some more boots on the ground reporting from the event. And this is special. This is special because this is the first time we've done this in our new News Talk format. And we will get to pretty much in real time track trends and messages and social change from what has been called the garden bed of social change, social engineering, that is Burning Man. We will track them live, real time, from Burning Man as they manifest in the world as a whole.
I think just more than anything, if people are upset or, we've gotten both sides. There's people that support us.
There's a lot of support too, by the way.
But I think what everybody can do, I'm just going to call upon the producers.
Yes.
Producers, assemble!
Whether you're for or against the situation, I think the basics that we can do is to pray for you and your crew to go up and, going out there, all the technology, whatever it is, and just cover protection, all that stuff, because regardless, of whether you like it or not, it's something that we've been tracking for a while, and I don't think there's another ministry out there doing it quite like this. So
that's one of the fun parts about, our body of work, Gons, is that to our knowledge, there is literally no other, show or ministry or something that does what we do 3 times a week, but also does this very in-depth sort of experiential reporting from places like Burning Man. So it's been a kind of a unique part of our work for 8 years now, and we're going to finally be able to continue doing that in this new format. So thank you to everybody who is helping support that mission. Of course, soul saving is always a part of it too. So if you are supportive of that mission and you want to help us pay some of the bills for travel and supplies and tickets and things like that, you can certainly do so by heading to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Ooh, I like what Yurt Mama sounds like somebody's name at Burning Man. Says Burning Man is a ritual / weaponized anthropology, God's protection and care. Weaponized anthropology. That's an interesting term. Yeah. So That being said, Gons, we are on the value for value model. Ooh, I just wanted to mention, if you receive our newsletters, in today's newsletter, I once again included the list of our research episodes. These were episodes put out on the podcast feeds, various podcast feeds. So if you get the newsletter, go check your email. And if you have not sort of interacted with those postings of ours before, go check it out. Some people were checking them out after I sent them out last episode, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So I think you're going to love it too. And it'll help you understand why this is a part of what we do. Oh, and like I said, we're on the value for value model. Everything we do is equipped, provided in cooperation with our producers. And our producers are you, dear listener. We take no corporate money whatsoever, no platform partnerships, advertisements, no nothing. The corporations have no hand in the flow of information that comes through Canary Cry News Talk, and that's the way it has to be. It's not the most reliable way all the time, but the God is good, and God's people know to support things and the value of not having corporations involved. So with that, we'd like to thank some of our executive producers, Con.
Executive producers.
That's right. Anybody who supports the show with their time, talent, or treasure is considered a producer, but there's a special few who come in and carry a heavy load, and those are called executive producers. And that's why we thank them here at the top of the show, and we're so very grateful for them. The first executive producer is executive producer Felicia D.
Felicia D, thank you.
I understand. I do this every single episode. I could have sworn Felicia D was a dame by now, but alas, we do not collect enough personal information for me to be able to tell if she is indeed a dame or not. But thank you very much, Felicia D. A very simple message sent with this. It says, Burning Man. So there you go. She's a Burning Man producer. Thank you very much. Executive producer, Felicia D. We also had a...
hold on. Thank you, Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
There we go. Thank you. We also have another executive producer who came in right before the show, and that is executive producer Christine S.
Christine S., thank you.
Indubitably. And Christine S. also came in with a nice round number. Just a heads up there. If you come in with a nice round number, that means that you are telling us that you do not wish for us to disclose the amount of your producership. If you don't mind us disclosing that, you can just make it a funny number, some funky number. And that'll, some people put 33 cents or 77 cents or whatever. Pick a number that's unusual. And that tells us you don't mind if we disclose the amount. But executive producer Christine S. came in with a nice round number and a note that says, "This is for Burning Man." Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christine S.
Where'd you find this?
Our executive producers today are making it possible for me to eat for the week next week at Burning Man. So thank you very much. And as far as I am able to discern, Gonzo, that concludes our list of executive producers. We've got some more producers to thank, and we'll do that later on in the show. But
you should mention the meetups coming up, because there's one this week, a lot this weekend going on.
There's 4 of them this weekend or something.
Canary Cry Meetup.
These were also included in the newsletter, so if you get the newsletter, you should know this already. But this weekend, there's a ton of meetups, and here they are. Houston, Galveston, Texas, August 27th. That's Saturday, 7:33 at Noah's Ark Bar and Grill in Bay Cliff, Texas. You can get in contact with Davey Frost at gmail.com. That's Davey with an EY. That promises to be a blast. There's also Ozark and Branson, Missouri, on 27th and 28th, respectively. That's Saturday and Sunday. You can contact Gabby L at sundancer8910 at gmail.com. Sundancer8910 at gmail.com to RSVP for that. Where will that be? Let's see here. On the 27th, we're going to meet up for lunch and visit the grounds on Saturday. Where's that? That's
Finley
at
Farms.
Finley Farms, yes. On Sunday, it's at Silver Dollar City in Branson. Oh, I'm so jealous about that one. I want to go to Silver Dollar City so badly. So there you go. Go to that one. We also have the Garland, Texas meetup, August 27th, and that will be at the Household of Faith in Garland, Texas. This group meets up every week, and there's like a dozen or so people. I'm sorry, not every week.
Month?
Every month.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, every month. And there's a dozen or so Canarians that show up, as well as a bunch of other people. And they have, let's see, the theme or the topic
Wrestling
this month.
with the Theodicy. Guest speaker Ellis Wright. Yeah,
that's right. So you can get in touch with Adam42 on Discord, or just show up at Household of Faith. The address is right there at canarycrymeetups.com. And there you go. That's all happening this weekend.
Yeah,
so exciting.
weekend.
Make sure to send us some meetup reports, stuff like that, folks.
You know what?
We
There's
know
a meetup
how it goes.
There's a meetup report that we forgot to do last week that we got to do
Do you
today.
have that?
I don't have it on me right now, but we can do it a little bit later.
Okay,
in the show.
we'll do it a little later. So there you go, canarycrymeetups.com. It's great. Go to these meetups. Meet your soulmates and your friends and your apocalypse buddies. It happens all the time at these meetups. We highly recommend it. Canarycrymeetups.com. We will see you at the meetup.
This is fun.
Oh, hold on. I was considering trying to do a meetup at Burning Man in case there were any other Canarians at Burning Man. But that sounds like a lot of work, and I don't know if that's a thing. But if there are any other Canarians going out there, send an email to canarycryradio@gmail.com, and we can team up and burn it down. No, I'm just kidding. Not going to do that. Not going to do that. We're just going to
burn
save
it down
souls.
with God's judgment.
No, we're going to
Should we rain down fire from heaven? Jesus told the disciples not to do that, by the way, at one point.
Wait,
New
I
Testament.
also wanted to mention. Oh, this was annoying, Gons.
Okay.
One of the Monties. You'll notice I'm not wearing the tweet hungry boy apron today.
Oh yeah. One
of the Monties. I don't know. Took revenge.
Ooh.
And
took out your apron.
Pee on my apron.
Oh yeah.
And
well, he's
so
claiming
I'm very
it.
sad about that.
It's such an awesome piece of cloth that he's claiming it. Yeah.
Right. He loved it so much. So I didn't notice it. I was wearing it when we first got on to do the show, and I was like, "What is that? Oh no, what's that smell? Oh no, it's actually making me sick."
Slow motion.
I had to take it off. Right. I'm wearing my my ice vest. It's my ice pack vest to keep me cool here with no AC, which I've said in the past looks like a bulletproof vest. I'm not wearing a bulletproof vest. I'm wearing an ice vest that has been in the freezer all night, and my entire torso is numb. But just so if there's any FBI agents,
it's a different kind of vest. It's a different kind of life vest or bulletproof
I'm not
vest.
part of a militia or something. I know that would be tempting. I'm simply wearing an ice pack vest so I don't die on air.
You can be a catcher or an umpire in baseball or something too. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, it's my umpire vest.
Yeah,
there you go.
sure.
So there's a little explanation. All right, let's get to the Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses, and blowing up our tanks. We use Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world, and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, is Flippy adjacent, okay? But it's coming from Forbes.com, and the headline is Ukraine's new Kamikaze robot.
Whoa!
Carries an anti-tank mine. Now, first of all, Gons, as our resident person of color here, using kamikaze in this context, is that offensive? Do we need to cancel Forbes?
No. Why would I? I don't know. There's some level of honor with that, I suppose.
Yeah, but it seems like appropriative.
Yeah,
If I were to play the part of a good, obedient, progressive liberal,
I mean, I can make a stink about it to get us a little attention on Twitter or something. I'd make a little video, get really mad.
One of these days, Gons, we're gonna have to spend all of our victim points. Okay, what do we get? It
only worked once with YouTube when we said, "Hey, how are you gonna stop Asian hate?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry, they backed up. Exactly. They backed up a strike." The second time it didn't work though.
Gons,
they were on to us.
I want you to know I don't think this, but if I were to take the stance of corporate America, I would ask, what's the point of having people of color on the show if we don't get victim points? Come on.
All right, I'll work up a thing. I'll write on it or something.
Thank you. We need a hashtag.
Sure.
But I mean, kamikaze doesn't kamikaze mean divine wind? Is that apocryphal?
Yes, kami as in like a god, lowercase g, and then kaze mean wind. Meaning
okay.
Wind, yeah. So yes, God's wind, whirlwind.
You could argue that it's like it's got spiritual meaning. It's like it's a religious term almost. And so to use it so flippantly by calling it a kamikaze robot, we should be able to get some victim points out of this.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. It goes like this. Ukraine's military has a new remote-controlled weapon, a small ground robot carrying an anti-tank mine known as the Gnome Kamikaze, which is a weird name. Yeah, Gnome, Gnome. So what? Okay, so it's a tiny little divine wind or something, known as the Gnome Kamikaze. It adds a new dimension to mine warfare.
This is Forbes, right? Mine. Yeah, Forbes. Yes, just double checking.
Mobile mine. Ukrainian company Temerland, based in Zaporizhzhia, developed the robot after release of the machine gun armed Gnome. That's the one we've covered before. Was the machine gun robot. Let me start that sentence over again. They developed the robot after release of the machine gun armed Gnome unscrewed vehicle in June. What? Oh, uncrewed. Sorry. The Gnome Kamikaze is based on a four-wheeled platform with an exceptionally low ground clearance, low enough to drive underneath cars and other wheeled vehicles. Oh no,
you know what? You know what could have the Gnome Kamikaze could have saved the life of Dugina, the lady.
Dugina saved the life.
Yeah, or
taken the life.
Been the one that placed the explosive.
That's what
I suppose.
I'm saying.
But yeah,
Dugina died of a car bomb, and that's kind of a weird connection here, isn't it? You had the Dugina Russian propagandist, aka journalist, who was murdered in a terrorist attack, as reported from Russia, and Ukraine. I can't remember. Did they take responsibility for it, or is Russia just blaming Ukraine for?
I think
stuff?
Russia's just blaming
either
Ukraine.
Way. It could have been either way.
It's
whatever.
It's part of the whole thing. We have the jingle here.
Fiery explosion just outside Moscow. Russian investigators say a car bomb killed the daughter of a close ally in a contract killing. Daria Dugin, the daughter of Alexander Dugin, whose brain died in the blast, whose brain.
By the way, people, I know you, our dear listeners, know this, but there are people who tune into the show for a second and see us reading mainstream news and think that we are endorsing it or something like that.
Yeah, all we do
is not what we're doing.
All we do is believe mainstream news.
Yeah, we got some angry emails about talking about this Dugina person, and from people who obviously did not listen to a word we said. Anyways, So yeah, the timing is very strange. August 25th, that was yesterday, this article came out, like a day after the car bomb explosion that killed Dugina.
Yeah.
So when you think of the series of events here, you have Flippy, or Flippy's cousin, Gnome, the little robot. It's just a strange series of events.
Yeah.
You've got the car explosion, and then boom, the announcement of a tiny, mine robot that can go underneath a car and explode it. Weird, huh? Keeps on going. Its cargo compartment takes a TM-62 type anti-tank mine,
Tank.
a Russian weapon, appropriately enough. Why is it appropriately enough? They're using their own mines against them.
Only Putin uses such devices.
True. And we have to, unless you're Ukraine. The TM-62 carries a charge of 7.5 kilograms of explosive with a magnetic influence fuse set off by any metallic object above it. Edward Trotsenko, CEO and owner of Temerland, notes that the operator can also trigger Gnome Kamikaze to detonate at will. Ukrainian forces have used TM-62 mine extensively in the current conflict. They are powerful enough to cause critical damage to main battle tanks, or simply flip vehicles over, or simply murder journalists. In general, the mine will at least destroy a track or wheel, leaving a vehicle immobile and helpless. One Ukrainian defender commented that, quote, "Our three main allies are the Dnipro River and Seversky Donets River, and the TM-62 anti-tank mine." The Gnome Kamikaze turns these mines into offensive weapons. And I thought that was an interesting aspect of it as well. Just sort of in the abstract, in the philosophical, First of all, the Gnome being a kamikaze, where we have these robots not even necessarily just delivering.
No, they're suicide
weapons.
robots.
They are suicide robots.
It is sort of religious in the context of all the suicide bombers that were.
Yeah.
No,
you don't need to strap. Yes. You don't need to strap dynamite to your chest anymore. You don't need to, of course, we're referring to the sort of
the Islamic
jihadis, whatever strategy there. So you kind of have these kamikaze robots, divine wind robots, turning defensive weapons like mines into offensive weapons. So, again, philosophically, abstractly, it's an interesting dynamic that robots are bringing to the battlefield, sort of flipping the idea of defensive weapons on their heads, which is notable because the U.S. specifically talks about all the aid, all the weapons, all the rocket launchers, all the HIMARS, everything. Specifically, I believe it's even written in the bill that promised all the weapons, that these were specifically defensive weapons.
Right. It's like Ukraine's Iron Dome.
We can justify sending them weapons and not call it a war with Russia, because we're not sending them weapons that they can attack with. We're sending them weapons just to defend themselves.
Right.
And here we go. We've got the robots turning these defensive weapons into offensive weapons. It's just, there's so much wrapped up in this one little story about a dumb little gnome robot that I thought it was very interesting. The article continues with just sort of like a history of tank mines and just a lot of stuff. I think it's this next little sentence was interesting to me, because it says it is the successor to the World War II German Goliath tracked mine.
And I thought if
making
you're gonna,
a comparison to the Nazis.
If you're doing the kamikaze, you're doing
there's so much wrapped up in this
Nazi thing. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, so you're basically taking the bad guys' technology and calling it good, and this very much is in line with the military-industrial complex propaganda, because we are the war machine, we are the arms dealers, so they have to make it look good. It's like, well, we took the bad guy stuff, but we're making it good for the Ukrainians. Very interesting.
And it's very, it is. It's compelling because both now they're saying it's the successor to the Nazi Goliath track mine. Of course, that has interesting implications to the sort of Putin's justification for invading Ukraine, saying it's filled with Nazis. So that's weird. But then also the current mine being used, TM62, being a Russian mine. It just seems like these mines are all being made by the bad guys. What's going on? We have... any of the good guys make mines?
We give the weapons to the bad guys, and then we say, we're using the bad guys' technology to make something to defend Ukraine. Sure. It's circular economies.
Yeah, exactly. That's the military-industrial complex for you. Destroy a bunch of stuff, which makes you money selling the weapons to level cities, and then you get your construction contractors to come in and rebuild the cities. You're making money all the way around. So there you go. That's your Flippy update for the day. I mean, there's more to it, but we've got other stuff to get to.
Yeah. All right. Well, good for Flippy.
Flippy 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
We will launch a new age.
Launch a new age.
Yes, he will. I forgot to bring the exact article that we wanted to do here. Why don't we do the Politico article?
Oh, you're talking about the Mar-a-Lago one?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to do the...
No, this is the affidavit. We should do the affidavit first.
Oh, I thought you wanted to do a second. All right, well, here we go. The Politico one here is titled, Trump Mar-a-Lago Affidavit Reveals Handwritten Notes, Highly Classified Material Led to Warrant Request. Mm-hmm. So, yes, they have released...
The affidavit is out. The redacted affidavit is out, right.
Prosecutors... why does it start weird? Prosecutors... I guess we got to read this sub-headline. Records the FBI obtained from Trump's Florida home in advance of the August 8 search bore indications they contained human source intelligence. Prosecutors also added in another court filing unsealed Friday that the ongoing criminal probe into government records stashed at Trump's Florida home has involved, quote, a significant number of civilian witnesses, end quote, whose safety could be jeopardized if their identities were revealed. The court filings unsealed Friday also revealed that the magistrate judge who issued the warrant for the search of Trump's residence received legal arguments from Trump's attorney before doing so. Those arguments came in the form of a 3-page May 25th letter from Trump lawyer Evan Corcoran.
Boring.
Corcoran. Yeah, okay. In the letter...
real quick, I just dumped my article down there at the bottom of the list. Let's do a little bit. Yeah, it's a Breitbart one.
Well, I just go to it because...
let's do it. So it talks about the affidavit. The affidavit has been released. It's unsealed by the federal judge Friday afternoon. That's today. The affidavit, signed by a special agent with the FBI, contends that after reviewing 15 boxes of material that Trump handed over voluntarily to the government, the DOJ determined that classified information had not been stored properly and then there might be more of it at Mar-a-Lago. We know this. Quote, the FBI's investigation has established that documents bearing classification markings, which appear to contain national defense information, were among the materials contained in the 15 boxes, all caps, and were stored at the premises, all caps, in an unauthorized location, the affidavit said. Quote, further, there is probable cause to believe that additional documents that contain classified national defense information or that are presidential records subject, blah, 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 blah. We get the point. Excuse me. Okay, yeah. I'm going to keep going. Sorry. There is also probable cause to believe that evidence of obstruction will be found at the premises. One of the government's concerns was that material in the boxes was poorly organized. Oh no, is poorly organized. And this is funny because this next section here, one of the defenses of Trump having these boxes was that moving out of the White House, they were just so unorganized that these boxes were like accidentally grabbed. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that was one of the things that they said in defense of why they even had the boxes. You also had ex-Trump White House aides saying, yeah, the guy's a weird pack rat, man. He saves everything. He puts it in his own special little box. It could be like an important document. It could also be like a doodle. He doodled on a napkin. It could also be a magazine he found in the bathroom. But he just like keeps everything and he puts it in these boxes and it's maddening. This came out about a week or two ago. And this is straight from the affidavit. Preliminary review of the 15 boxes indicated that they contained newspapers, magazines, printed news articles, photos, miscellaneous printouts, notes, presidential correspondence, personal and post-presidential records, so some not even from his presidency, and, quote, a lot of classified records. Most significant concern was that highly classified records were unfolded, intermixed with other records, and otherwise improperly identified. And they put a SIC in there, the SIC in brackets there, which is to recognize that something was misspelled. So in the affidavit, just as a fun detail, in the affidavit, they use the word improperly, which is improper. It's the improper word. The word is improper, not improperly. The agent did not personally know that there was defense-related information in the documents with alleged classification marking, but said that, quote, based on my training and experience, I know that documents classified at these levels typically contain NDI. Curiously, the agent cited a Breitbart news article in which former White House national security official Kash Patel said that Trump had declassified the documents. So this is the fun part. In the affidavit, they are quoting Breitbart as to why they need to go get these things. I'm not going to read that whole thing. Yeah. Now, I forgot. There was actually 2 Breitbart articles about this. I'm going to stop that one. I'm going to send you this other one. I apologize, everybody. This is poor planning.
Yeah, we prep for a reason, man.
I know. We were just in such a rush to get going here. This happened.
For those of you just in the back room, we have this little document. He hyperlinks the words. Yeah,
I just typed out a bunch of random stuff on my VR keyboard here. Okay, now this is another piece of very interesting information that's good to know. Federal investigation. Okay, I'm skipping the first paragraph.
It's still Breitbart headline: National security not cited by DOJ among reasons for redactions.
That's right. National security. No, that's interesting. My headline says Trump Mar-a-Lago affidavit reveals handwritten notes, highly classified materials, led to warrant request. Does yours not say that?
No, the link you just sent me says national security not cited by DOJ among reasons for redactions.
What?
Yeah.
I'm going to open that one. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the one we just read. Here.
What?
Sorry.
Wait.
Yep. Hold on.
Okay. So you sent me the same thing twice and they changed the title?
No, it's my fault.
Well, because the headline's different from the one you
It's happening again. What's
you just
going
sent
on?
me an article, and the article you sent me is different.
Is it?
It's different headline, yeah. The one you sent me earlier that you were just reading is affidavit focuses on documents, classified markings, national defense information. And then
weird.
The one you
they must have just changed the thing.
It's possible. Breitbart's, they're part of the whole thing. They can be 1984.
They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well,
shoot. I'm sorry. No. Settle down. I'm so sorry. I have no idea why it's doing this. This is the weirdest thing ever. It is not letting me send you this article. I'm just gonna
tell me what it is, and
I'm gonna tell you what it says here.
Okay.
Records the FBI obtained from Trump's Florida home in advance of the August 8th search bore indications they contained human source intelligence, intercepts under the Foreign Intelligence Service Act, and signals intelligence, as well as other tags indicating high sensitivity. Several of those tightly controlled documents contained Trump's handwritten notes, the partially redacted affidavit detailing the Justice Department investigation said. And you go down a little bit further. Basically, it talks about how in the documents retrieved were the original 15 boxes that they grabbed included signals intelligence on foreign governments. So he did allegedly, if the FBI is to be believed here, or if Breitbart's to be believed, it did have like intelligence service information on foreign leaders, foreign governments, things like that. Okay. Now, the fun part. Remember, if you all will, that it was a mole. There's a mole within the Trump organization that let the FBI know that he had these boxes in the first place. Human intelligence, as it was reported, meaning not necessarily an informant, because that's, they were trying, not they, but some analyses that I was reading were trying to avoid the word informant because that implies an ongoing relationship. A human source is more like somebody called in a tip or something.
Right.
Now, this is coming from newsinteractive.post-gazette.com. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it was trending. Oh, Post-Gazette. Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is what it is. Okay. But it's a real blast, and I'm happy to bring it to the show. It's a kind of a longer expose on this woman. The headline is Inventing Anna, the Tale of a Fake Heiress, Mar-a-Lago, and an FBI investigation. Dun, dun, dun. And this dropped today, the same day of the affidavit, the redacted affidavit. By the way, the redacted affidavit was over 30 pages long, and something like 24 of the pages are partially or entirely redacted. So an incredibly redacted document. So the information you're getting from the affidavit is just scratching the surface as to what was actually in there. But back to this. Palm Beach, Florida, for a time, Anna de Rothschild boasted her family roots to the European banking dynasty, donning designer clothes, a Rolex watch, and driving a $170,000 black Mercedes-Benz SUV. She talked about developing a sprawling luxury housing project on Emerald Bay in the Bahamas, a high-rise hotel in Monaco, and a Formula One racetrack in Miami, say people who know her.
Knew her. Yeah, they don't know her anymore.
Whoopsie daisies. If the cops are asking, nobody knows her anymore.
Yeah.
A pivotal moment for the woman, who was fluent in several languages, took place last year when she was invited to Mar-a-Lago, where she mingled with former President Donald Trump's supporters and showed up the next day for a golf outing with Mr. Trump and Senator Lindsey Graham, among other political luminaries. Then they have a photo here of Trump, Lindsey Graham, and this woman standing on the golf course. And, you take a look at this woman and it's not surprising she was able to make her way into Mar-a-Lago, knowing what we know about, politicians. The article continues, and get ready for this one. But the 33-year-old woman was not a member of the famous banking family and is now a subject of a widening FBI investigation that has delved into her past financial activities and the events that led her to the former president's home. Quote, "It was a near perfect ruse and she played the part," said John Lefauve, a former investment banker who met her with other guests around the club pool. In addition to the FBI, law enforcement agents in Canada have confirmed that she has been the subject of a major crimes unit investigation in Quebec since February, a year before the FBI's spectacular raid of the former president's seaside home. It was a spectacular raid. The woman whose real name is Ina Yashishin, a Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine, made several trips into the estate, posing as a member of the famous family while making inroads with some of the former president's key supporters.
Hold on, though. What is going on with our intelligence operations just in general, where a woman that just said, "Oh yeah, I'm a Rothschild. Check me out in my SUV, my Benz SUV or whatever." It just kind of works her way up the ladder into, it doesn't add up to me, but continue.
Well, see, this is the thing, is that it's not so much, I don't think this has happened while he was president. It was I think it was after. They don't do a great job of giving dates on this thing, which is, but it's recent that she's being investigated. Mm-hmm. But now, a couple things to mention. She's an immigrant from Ukraine, is what's being stated here, which is notable. Yeah. Okay. Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine. Now, this has been a hard thing for Americans to fully grok, and I'm still not so sure about it. But when you say Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine, what they're really saying is Russian.
Yeah, they're from the occupying areas is the suggestion.
So that's the suggestion. Yeah. So for us in the U.S., you hear Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine. You just think like, okay, she speaks Russian. I don't get it. A lot of people speak Russian. I could go learn Russian if I wanted to, but I'm too busy doing a podcast. Okay, what does it mean that somebody who speaks Russian? Well, in Ukraine, at least what the media has led us to believe is that it's much more of a sign of allegiance to Russia to speak Russian in Ukraine. So if you're a Russian speaker or a Russian-speaking Ukrainian, what they're really trying to say about you is you have allegiance to Putin, even though you're geographically in Ukraine.
Right. Okay.
So calling this woman a Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine is like aligning her with the Ukrainian treasonous Russian speakers who want Putin to take over Ukraine. It's just a very subtle but very specific way to describe her. And I'm not going to read much more, but you'll get the idea. Now, this is the weird part. She's a Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine. The article then continues, the ability of Miss Yashishin, the daughter of an Illinois truck driver.
Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Obama. This is an Obama move.
I was gonna say, I was trying to look for like why that is so weird. The only thing I could think of is Obama. So she's the daughter of an Illinois truck driver, but she's a Russian-speaking resident of Ukraine.
Wow, this
it
is
is the most. It is the most complicated. Like, what's the word? I don't know. Dilute. It's so diluted, I guess, the facts on this woman. To bypass the security at Mr. Trump's club demonstrates the ease with which someone with a fake identity and shadowy background can get into a facility that's one of America's power centers and the epicenter of Republican Party politics.
I think this article is giving it away a little bit. Having a fake identity doesn't necessarily get you in anywhere. You have to have a shadowy background. You see, it's gotta you gotta have the green light from some shadowy people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they really give it away right here. The article, I'm almost done here. The article continues. Those issues have become even more critical, being how easy it was for her to get into Mar-a-Lago. Those issues have become even more critical after FBI agents seized boxes of classified and top secret materials 2 weeks ago from Mar-a-Lago after executing a search warrant on Mr. Trump's home. An extravagant raid. Her entry, multiple trips in and out of the club grounds, lays bare the vulnerabilities of a facility that serves as both the former president's residence and a private club, and highlights the gaps in security that can take place. Quote, "That's his residence," said Ed Martin, a former U.S. Treasury special agent who spent more than 2 decades in criminal intelligence. She wouldn't have been in there.
No, she shouldn't have been in there.
She shouldn't have been in there.
Yeah.
She's a Rothschild, Ed. Get over it.
You know what guards say to Rothschilds? It's just they just fall over and let them walk in.
And it goes on and on and on. An extremely thorough investigation of this woman and how she got into Mar-a-Lago. But really, the implication is, hey, whether or not Trump was allowed to have those documents, we had some sort of Ukrainian Russian spy just waltzing in, pretending to be a Rothschild. And so whether or not he was allowed to have the documents, this Russian spy could have come in and taken
the documents. So it's a political move.
It's a political move.
Yeah.
Could have either taken the documents, or was she there to make a deal or something?
Yeah.
Because remember the statements, right, from Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen was saying, "Oh yeah, Trump is going to take those documents and use them for leverage and sell them to Russia, and that's what's going to happen." Just he loves the attention, you know. And boom, like 2 days later, same day affidavit drops. Oh yeah, there was this young, good-looking Russian spy who was just waltzing in and out of Mar-a-Lago. It's really sort of crafting this grand narrative about how Trump, is a danger to democracy for those exact reasons.
You know what Trump said when he found out about this?
What did he say, Gons?
Goodbye, everybody, and that's the end. And everyone says, "Oh, that was fun." Bye, 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 bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Hairy COVID.
Especially after that Paxlovid. This is Politico.com. Just real quickly here. Biden announces new head of Secret Service.
Yay.
Kimberly Cheadle's career with the agency spans more than 25 years, including numerous leadership roles. Yeah, like Don Cheadle. No, it's spelled differently.
Don Cheadle.
It's spelled differently, yeah. DHS Inspector General Joseph Kufari seemed to push back against the increased scrutiny. Politico reported at the beginning of August that Kufari wrote in a work email that, quote, "Because of the U.S. Attorney General guidelines and quality standards, we cannot always publicly respond to untruths and false information about our work." He continued, "I am proud of the resilience I have witnessed in the face of this onslaught of meritless criticism." Yeah, meritless criticism. Shortly after, the chair of January 6th committee, Benny Thompson, Democrat from Mississippi, and oversight chair Rep. Carolyn Maloney from New York sent a letter saying that they had documents that, quote, "raise troubling new concerns, that your office not only failed to notify Congress for more than a year that critical evidence in this investigation was missing, but your senior staff deliberately chose not to pursue that evidence and then appear to have taken steps to cover up these failures," end quote. "Tackling these problems will be part of the next phase of Cheadle's 25-plus year career with the Secret Service. She has served numerous leadership roles within the agency, including becoming the first woman to serve in the role of Assistant Director of Protective Operations in October 2019. Biden, quote, came to trust her judgment and counsel, end quote, when she was on his security detail as vice president. He said in a statement, in 2021, Biden awarded her a Presidential Rank Award, quote, recognizing her among a select group of career members of the Senior Executive Service for exceptional performance over an extended period of time, end quote. Cheadle is currently a senior director at PepsiCo North America, where she oversees facilities, personnel, and business continuity. So, yeah, poison the people.
What the heck?
And new head of Secret Service.
She's a boss at Pepsi?
Oh, you
and is now head of the Secret Service.
Yeah, well, she has history. So, you know, she was chosen as awarded the Presidential Rank Award in 2021. So, you know.
You know what's interesting? An interesting connection between the last story and this one.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Trump as a former president has Secret Service detail protecting him.
Yep.
And you would assume that there are Secret Service, you know, scanning the area, guarding Mar-a-Lago, doing background checks on people who are getting close to the president. The Secret Service would be in the know more than any other intelligence community.
Yeah.
And not only about this Rothschild woman coming in, the Secret Service would know about that, but also the documents. You know, if the president had a bunch of secret documents at his home, there's a good chance his Secret Service detail would know about that.
Yeah.
And it's just very interesting. Biden might be like, hey, why didn't my Secret Service people tell me about this? Why are we getting this from a informant or whatever?
Right.
Maybe the mole is a Secret Service agent. Who knows? Or, you know, I mean, if you want to keep tabs on, because this is the weird part about Trump and Biden, that very few other presidents have ever been in this situation, which is being ideologically and politically as an aggravating enemy as any president, not any two presidents, rather, not just because one came after the other, but that Trump may run again. So, you know, there's a potential for Trump as an ex-president with Secret Service detail around him at all times to run again, splitting his two terms. And of course, he made all the spying allegations on Obama. And I think a lot of the evidence has bore out that he was spied on while he ran the first time. This would be an excellent way for Biden to more or less spy on Trump before he even announces he's running. You know, he would literally be the commander in chief of the security detail of Trump while he is, well, right now, but also while he's running.
It's the polarization too, because and this is kind of what's been happening with especially since Trump, is it's a loyalty test for everybody involved in politics or government. So
on both sides,
So Trump is going to, and this move by Biden will effectively force the agents to be like, okay, do I serve Trump or do I serve the government? You know, or the perceived federal government.
Well, and
they'll have to make a decision if there are ethical things that are placed in front of them.
Any Secret Service agent in there, their job is to protect the person, the former president.
Yeah.
And yet they are under the command of the current president.
Right.
And to have such a vitriolic rivalry between the two could really create some problems when it comes to, you know, conflict of interests. And does the Biden have the ability to give an order to, you know,
by
I
Biden,
don't know,
you mean Obama, right?
Whoever, right? Whoever is actually in charge in the basement in their sweatpants calling the shots. Yeah, it's just a very weird situation that I'm not even sure has ever happened before.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we tend to think that it's pretty wild. I mean, because of social media, things seem heightened, but I'm sure disturbing and backstabby type of stuff has been going on for a long time in politics.
I just mean a president who loses his second term to another president and then runs again while being protected by agents under the control of the current president.
Yeah.
You know, the flip-flopping of the presidency.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess we could go back and look at the list of presidents and see if one of them shows up twice, you know, with one in between.
Yeah.
Anyways, there you go. It's just a very strange setup for what we could be moving into.
All right, we're a little over time here, but let's just do this real quick and then we'll move into a break because it's relevant. So,
this Wall Street Journal article, just real quick. Paul Allen's $1 billion art collection heads to auction. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen collected chemistry sets as a boy, but the trove of paintings and sculptures he later amassed could top $1 billion when it heads to auction at Christie's this fall. So, yes, this co-founder, Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft, is selling a $1 billion art collection. Now, for some context, rich people collect art not because they like art, but because it holds value.
It's a store of value. Yeah,
exactly.
Normally goes up in value, especially during economic trouble.
Right. Exactly. It's an investment. So, you know, an art collector is not necessarily just like a lover of art. They are investing. They are putting money in something that will gain more value. It's literally a financial asset,
right,
to these billionaires. And to have a $1 billion art collection is crazy. I believe it's the biggest art collection in the world, or most expensive, owned by a private person. And he's selling it. He's putting it to auction. Why is this important? Because when you have a billionaire selling a financial asset that was supposed to store value, it means he is valuing the cash more than he is the asset. And when do billionaires convert assets into cash? When the world is about to financially end. This is a very spooky signal into what the economy might look like very soon.
Well,
this is sort of unprecedented.
It's coming at a time right when the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, came out. He actually came out this morning and said that this headline here from Yahoo Finance, Powell says Fed's inflation fight will bring some pain.
Yes.
Yeah, more
Isn't
pain.
That nice?
We're not going to finish until the job is done. So,
just literally tells us this is going to be painful getting this inflation under control.
Yeah.
So painful, in fact, that Paul Allen has to sell his $1 billion art collection to survive whatever is coming next.
You know, the Fed always says one thing and does another. So, you know, there's a little bit of skepticism on my part. The contrarian in me is kind of like, well, maybe this and moves like this by Paul Allen. Sure, I suppose, but I don't know. This is very, there's a lot of mind games going on. It's a big psychology play with money and finance and the economy. So, I don't know. I'm skeptical of anything, especially since the Fed, they've been saying, we're fighting inflation, but they've been pumping money into the economy. They didn't really tell us until, a week or so ago, and then Joe Biden came out, 0% inflation, right?
Yeah,
so there's all that going on, but I think it's also political in that, people will think that everything's fine because the Fed chairman said this, and then things won't go down until after the election, and then everything will probably crash and have another bottom. So Yep. All right.
Well, there's only one last thing to do, Gons, and that's have a party about it.
Is that what we're doing? A party? It's party time.
Yeah.
Go to canarycry.party. It's a URL. There you will find a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, how to produce the show, connect with us and the community.
Yay! CanaryCry.party. Go check it out. You got all the resources you could possibly want, including links to Ravel. Ravel is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's got a PhD in biblical interpretation. We talk scripture, society, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. Right now we have our Pentecost episode up. You should go check it out, our 50th episode. You can find it on your podcast players as well as canarycry.party. While you're at it, you should subscribe to the Canary Cry Clips channel. We've got it on YouTube and Odyssey. These are channels where the show is clipped out to shareable, careable bits that you can review information or share information easily. It's all wonderful there. Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. And you can also text the word canary to 877-740-3226. That's canary to 877-740-3226. And that will get you put on our text message alert system. If you are not getting notifications, which you probably are not, but maybe you are, who knows. If you're not getting notifications when we go live from YouTube or DLive or Big Tech of any kind, do not fret. You can get on our text message alert system, and we just send out a text when we're live. You'll know exactly when to hop on and say hi to your buddies. That's us and the rest of the Canarians. Again, Canary to 877-740-3226.
All right, let's take a break and thank some people.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right, folks. We're going to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We're going to thank some producers. Now, remember, you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's all good. Lots of ways to do it. But you may notice we have no advertising, affiliate codes, partnerships with platforms, none of that. We are entirely funded by the people who get value from this show. It's called the Value for Value system. It's a revolutionary idea. Can you even imagine a world where the flow of information and the analysis and deconstruction of world events and corporate news isn't funded by corporations who are buying their way into your mind, in front of your eyeballs, into your ears, in hopes of subtly, psychologically manipulating you into spending money you don't have on things you don't need, especially in times like this. Come on now. We are committed to the value for value system because we believe that corporations have no place in independent media. If a lot of shows are claiming to be independent, but if they're advertising to you, I'm not sure what they are independent from, because we all know that corporate money comes with a lot of corporate profit motives. And that's just not what we're doing here. So, like I said, you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. We're going to thank some producers who came in financially, and they did so by heading to canarycryradio.com/support. canarycryradio.com/support. And Gons, real quick, let me tell you about the supply drop. That's right. The Canary Cry supply drop is coming. It's coming, folks. Run for your lives. Or just make sure to answer the door when the UPS man comes by. Because when you support the show in the amount of $33.33 a month, you are instantly put on a list of producers who get free stuff, free gifts. Well, once per quarter, 3-4 times a year, we are creating bespoke, valuable gear and trinkets and things that should bring more value to your life, and we are sending them directly to you 4 times a year. It's really a blast. I'm having a fun doing it. Everything is created by producers of the show, designed by artists of the show, made here in America. It's all wonderful. But here's the bad news, Gons. There's only 6 more days to sign up. 5 more days if you don't count today. There's only 6 more days before the cutoff, which is September 1st. And, if you don't sign up before September 1st, not on September 1st, before September 1st, we need to have that cutoff because we need to know exact numbers, how many of things we are manufacturing. So go sign up. You can do that at canarycrysupply.com. This is one of my favorite supply drops we've ever done. We got the New World Order Fantasy Koozie. We got Sir Dove, Knight of Resbeltia's Psalms Bible artwork book. That's right. All the Bible artwork you see on the show here is getting put in a beautiful sort of coffee table book that you can enjoy and brag about. There will also be, very exciting, the Canary Cry Mixtape Volume 1 being professionally manufactured and printed on cassette tape because we're so retro and cool. We had a producer.
Cassette player not included.
Cassette players not included. We had a producer send in a note about how stoked he was about the cassette tapes.
It's Pizza Rat.
Because it's Pizza Rat, right? Pizza Rat collects cassette tapes. So he's on board with how cool this is. And if you don't know, the Canary Cry mixtape is filled. It's the volume 1. We're going to do more volumes, but volume 1 is filled with the music made by our musicians, by our producers that you've been hearing on the show for, years now. It's very cool. It's very special. You're going to love it. And you can get your own by going to canarycrysupply.com, signing up, support the show. Remember, you're producing the show first, and everything that arrives in your mailbox is our free gift to you. So go check it out. And if you sign up before September 1st, we're adding free gifts to new signups. You can get the Tweet Hungry Boys apron. Sadly, mine got peed on by a cat. Or it could be the Canary Cry Supply Drop Challenge coin. Some lucky people are going to be getting those. We've got all sorts of nice promo items. You're going to get more stuff than ever by signing up before September 1st. Okay, go do that. canarycrysupply.com. We've got a few people who signed up, Gons. Are you ready to thank them?
Yes.
Okay, we're starting out with thanking producer Jacob B.
Jacob B, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacob B. We've also got producer Nicole Yu.
Nicole Yu, thank you very much.
Nicole Yu. We've got Jonathan G.
Jonathan G. Ooh.
Thank you, Jonathan G.
We're going to have all the Jonathans, every letter Jonathan.
That's
got Jonathan
right.
Neff, now we got Jonathan G.
And we got Johnny R. also.
Johnny R.
Thank you very much, Johnny R. Okay. Thank you to all the new Supply Drop producers. And I can tell you, folks, we still got bonus items waiting for people to sign up and become a Supply Drop producer. Thank you very much. And we're all waiting for the Supply Drop.
Waiting for Supply Drop.
Beedle-doo. Well, we got a few more people to thank who came in and supported the show. Are you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Thank you to producer Dame Miss G of the OV and Deep Rivers.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming in. Actually, this is being attributed to a different producer, and that is producer Mama Liz.
Mama Liz. Thank you very much.
Oh, I see what's going on here. Mama Liz came in for 7777. How nice. This is a fun number. I'm just going to write down Mama Liz here. 7777. And the note reads, Burning Man. Fire emoji. Okay, all right, baby. It says, I am demooching my mama on my PayPal because she doesn't have one. Demooching Mama Liz.
There you go, Mama Liz.
Yay! Congrats, Mama Liz, on your demooching. Thank you very much for your support. It's the only way we can do this. So shout out to the newly demooched Mama Liz. The note continues, we want to support you, Basil, going to Burning Man. It is an honorable cause going to one of the craziest areas to spread Jesus to those who truly need it. And the Burning Man episodes and extras of the past are some of my favorites. Ooh, spelled in the Canadian style. I have helped many people pick out makeup and skincare for Burning Man while working retail. Also, I have a cousin that goes to Burning Man every year and who is into all the new agey stuff. I think she is going this year. We have been praying for her salvation and to turn away from the stuff she's into. I pray you bring God's love to the people at Burning Man and spread his light in the darkness. Many blessings, Basil, and thank you for being willing to go on crazy trips. I honor that. Spelled in the Canadian fashion. Miss G Beauty and Mama Liz. Well, Miss G Beauty, I believe it's Dame Miss G of the OV and the Deep Rivers.
Yeah.
But thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, of course, thank you to Mama Liz.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mama Liz. And thank you, Dame Miss G.
Yes, indeed. Okay, we've got, let's see here. Producer Morph is on a 132 episode streak.
Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
11/11. Happy Friday.
It's Friday.
Keep playing with the Friday thing. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Revelations 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him, and he with me. Thank you very much, Morph.
Thank you, Morph. The Revelation, singular, Basil. Come on.
No.
Thank you, Morph.
I did the thing.
It's okay.
All right, JC Knight of the Techno Squatch is coming in with 1001.
Hey.
1001. Amen.
Thank you, JC Knight of the Techno Squatch. Is he on a streak?
Yes. He just came in. His streak is 140. Okay. Well done. Okay, and yes, the note continues. Let me get to it. And says, Happy Friday, Canary fam.
Friday. Friday.
Blat, blat, bloop.
You gonna learn today.
Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got
Are you not entertained?
Every day is Friday. Hope everyone survives the work week. Thank you, Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch. We've also got producer Malik W.
Malik W. Hey, good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, Malik is back. He comes in with a nice round number. I did not see a note. Thank you very much, Malik.
Thank you, Malik.
We've also got Veekan777.
Hey, thank you, Veekan777. I like
Comes in with 777 plus fees and says, Hope this works, Gons. Please demooch me. P.S. Wormwood passing bodies being reported worldwide. Get ready, folks. Rapture time is closer. The old Wormwood. Yeah, I've not heard anything new recently.
Bodies. Interesting.
It's like a Nibiru, Planet X type of thing, right?
Right.
That's what they're talking about.
I think so.
That's been sort of my recent context for that floating around on the internet. Thank you very much, Vegan777.
Thank you very much.
We've got producer Marty K.
Thank
coming
you, Marty
in.
K.
777 plus fees. Says, Godspeed as you take the good news into the belly of the beast. The Camp of the Unknown God team will remain in my prayers for your protection and for God-sent connections as all are lost without him.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marty K.
I think Marty K did send a longer note that had a little bit of his background and being skeptical when he first heard about the whole thing a couple episodes ago. And I think he said
I got it right here.
Yeah,
encouragement. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to, it's kind of long, but we can.
Yeah, well, let me summarize the beginning. The summarization is, his friends are trying to get him to go to Burning Man forever, and he never went. He was very proud about never going to Burning Man, even before he was saved, I believe, is part of it. So, big anti-Burning Man guy. So he was skeptical when I mentioned what's going on here. Let's see here. Then I listened to all the related CCR episodes.
Yeah.
Now I say I get it. I hadn't been able to locate those episodes before, so thank you, Gons, for sharing it on Monday's show. Yes, they're also in the email for anybody who gets the email. To conclude, I'm so proud of you, Basil, and the brothers and sisters in Christ whose maturity level in their walks are such that they enter the belly of the beast with their feet shod with the gospel of peace. So thank you and Godspeed. Can't wait to hear the report. Sincerely, Marty, now living in Texas. Thank you very much. We're talking
about
Marty.
Living somewhere else before,
right.
Closer to the Burning Man location. So,
indubitably. Yeah. Thank you very much, Marty.
Thank you, Marty K.
Okay, let's see here. Moving on, we've got producer Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, on a 37-episode streak. Coming in at 777 plus fees, and a note: Happy Friday.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
Have a great day and enjoy the weekend. Thank you, Sir Darren.
Sir Darren.
We've got Dominic R. Dominic R. coming in pocket full of sevens and fees and says, "Hey guys, wanted to ask you guys what you thought on the recent black hole sound NASA supposedly recorded and your perspective on it. I have some wild theories, but I wanted to hear yours. God bless and thank you for your work." Did you hear the new? We've got the black hole noise before. This is a new black hole noise.
Yeah, I think we did have it in the additional stories a couple episodes ago. It did come come through the desk, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where the people aren't exactly. It's not like the sound, from what I understand. It's kind of interpreted.
Right. It's the same thing. Data. It's they got a little bit of sound that they could pick up, but they said they added a whole bunch of other data to it to try to make something interesting. It's not like if you were there, that's not what you would hear.
Per se.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed. It's a nice, things like this usually are like PR and fundraising activities.
It's to get more funding for all these NASA things, So.
But you listen to it, it sounds like...
It sounds spooky.
Sounds spooky. I could see someone kind of thinking it sounds like, wailing and gnashing of teeth or something.
The pits of hell, yeah.
Yeah. But it also sounds like maybe just a crowd of people in slow motion.
And I think that it's supposed to invoke that response of like, oh, it's hell or something from believers. Right. You know what I mean? Like, because they're trying to polarize the, hey, science is truth people with, hey, there's a hell out there people, and making them latch on to certain narratives.
You think some specific...
It's always been like that. I mean, with any kind of NASA thing, it's always sort of geared towards the, creating more of a polarization between a creationist and an evolutionist or something, So I'm not surprised with that in terms of, deconstructing it, but... I don't know. You can always go off a little bit more on the rabbit trail side and say it's actual sounds from beyond the firmament or whatever. People have theories about it. So,
we got a little bit of noise, but then we kind of spiced it up for Twitter.
I grabbed some noise from the deep inside the firmament.
I can't wait to hear it. There it
Dean
is.
Scream is just reverberating throughout.
Take the Dean Scream and slow it down about 100 times. Right. That's what the black hole sounds like.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dominic R.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Dominic R. Sorry, I was reading the chat. I can't get involved. Okay, that's it. That concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you so much for making this show possible.
Sorry. Oops. Sorry.
That's okay. That's what was coming next. Thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
The four horsemen of the technocalypse.
Anytime you see the four horsemen, it's something special.
This is our second horseman of the technocalypse today. We already had Bill Gates. And, of course, now we have MetaMark. Of course, that's Mark Zuckerberg.
Who should we tickle next?
I am not a lizard.
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know if we really even need to read a lot of the stories. But Mark Zuckerberg showed up on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
Recently. Did you listen to it?
I did not. I tried to find time, but I could not find time to listen to it.
Yeah.
But you said you listened to from end to end.
Yes, it was a surprise drop. There wasn't much PR about it, marketing about it beforehand. Kind of took everybody by surprise. The Daily Caller, especially, taken by surprise. They put out a couple. They were triggered, man. They put out a couple articles. One of them, Mark Zuckerberg says Facebook censored the Hunter Biden laptop story after the FBI asked them to restrict the information.
Restrict misinformation.
You pretty much don't need to read the article because that's about as interesting as it was.
So what was he just saying? Oh, because we can
Joe
bring clips
Rogan,
or whatever, but
Yeah, well, Joe Rogan brought it up to him. He said, "So what's the deal with the Hunter Biden laptop, story?" Which good for him for bringing it up. And Mark Zuckerberg literally just basically says, the FBI came to us and said, oh, some weird misinformation is going to drop soon. Keep an eye out for it, is the way he described it. He said that they didn't tell him exactly what it would be, but that the FBI contacted them and told them to keep an eye out. And, he did his best to be like, we didn't know. We put a label on it. You're still allowed to post it. We just put a label on it and shadow banned you, basically, is what he said. So that's that. Not much else interesting in that article. Let's see here.
There's another Daily Caller.
Oh, this was the Daily Caller. Yeah, in relation to that. FBI agents were told not to look into Hunter Biden's laptop, whistleblower says. It sounds like with the laptop. And this was, I don't know, interesting in regards to talking to Mark Zuckerberg, because he maintains they didn't know anything about it. They were told that Russian disinformation is coming down the pipeline and keep an eye out and deal with it, is what Mark says. And so they did. However, as we know, the news about the Hunter Biden laptop continues, but this one is interesting. Is again from the Daily Caller. FBI officials obstructed the investigation into Hunter Biden's laptop prior to the 2020 election by instructing agents not to further examine the laptop, whistleblowers purportedly told Wisconsin Republican Senator Ron Johnson. And you get the point. I don't know. We haven't been going step by step on the whole Hunter Biden laptop thing recently. Did you have something?
Not really.
Invested?
It's just adding fuel to the fire of the FBI love-hate relationship that they're trying to stoke in the country here. So,
I would much rather talk about Mark Zuckerberg on Rogan.
Okay.
Look, folks, it is worth listening to. 90% of it is the most boring thing you've ever heard. He's just talking about virtual reality. He's talking about the metaverse.
Sometimes it feels more real. I got to remind myself that it's not real.
It's all of the talking points. He's obvious. I'll give Mark this. He's obviously recently had some media training.
Oh, is he getting better at talking?
He's getting better. He's getting significantly better.
He's gotten software upgrades.
He's got his software upgrade, probably even some hardware upgrade. His human being protocols are really up to snuff. He obviously got some training on exactly how to come across amiable on Joe Rogan. One fun part was throughout the conversation. Look, maybe not everybody would be able to catch it, but if you're paying attention and you're coming at it with the right attitude, you'll notice he puts a lot of energy into making sure that that Mark Zuckerberg is a human being with a human family. He would almost out of nowhere just find reasons to be like, Oh, my kids. Oh, I have 2 kids. I love my kids. I love my human kids. Let me tell you.
He says human kids?
No.
Does he really say human kids? I would like a clip of that.
Not quite.
I love my human kids.
You got to read between the lines. He's saying, I've got human children. I swear to you, I'm not a lizard. He mentions his mom. He's like, I also have a human mom, and talks about his cousin out of nowhere. That's what I mean with the media training. They obviously were like, okay, Mark, nobody believes you're a human being.
Everyone thinks you're a robot.
Everybody thinks you're either a lizard or a robot. So the way you got to do this is you need to find a reason to literally talk about every member of your extended family at some point during this conversation. Then he's like, I have a human wife. I have human kids.
That raises even more skepticism. This guy genetically engineered or something?
That's what I'm saying. I was more convinced that he was a robot or a lizard in a man suit after hearing him wedge talking about his human family in about a dozen times for no reason.
I'm not capable of hatred.
There's another one. Of course, he's on Rogan, so his media training, they had him talk about MMA and how
that's right. You're really getting the Joe Rogan crap.
Yes.
You're right. He did get some training. There's no way he's talking about MMA.
Yes.
Yeah. Continue.
Yeah. This was not a organic thing. He's like, I'm going on Rogan. People think I'm a robot. I gotta talk about my human family, and I gotta talk about how much I love doing MMA. And they talk about MMA. They even talk about the hydro surfing that has that funny picture of him.
Yeah.
It's again, there's a list of memes that they needed to address of him on Joe Rogan. They talked about the hydrofoiling and how he's such a sporty little boy who goes hydrofoiling.
I have a quote about the jiu-jitsu. So he started jiu-jitsu. He said, quote, after an hour or 2 of rolling, which is what they call jiu-jitsu, I'm ready to go solve whatever problem at work.
Yes, exactly.
What is that? Is that that's like machine learning from Joe Rogan himself? All the things he's said and putting it in a sentence, just spit it back at him for his audience. That is weird.
Exactly. He was coached very well on how to handle this Joe Rogan. And I'll admit, he comes across kind of fun at times during the thing, but of course I'm already trying to spot the spot the lizard.
Indie.co.uk headline is Joe Rogan podcast live. Zuckerberg stirs controversy discussing perfect bots, Hunter Biden, and metaverse. So
it was all so boring. I'm telling you, it is such a boring thing. You don't listen for the interview. You listen because he brings up MMA and jiu-jitsu and how it's it's just his favorite thing. He's doing jiu-jitsu all the time, and it really helps him, and blah, 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 blah. But he kept using this term. He kept using this phrase, I just love wrestling with my buddies. He said it.
We need an ISO.
Times.
We need an ISO. Somebody find the ISO.
He's just I just love wrestling with my boys. He said about his kids too. He's just apparently Mark Zuckerberg all he does is go around and just wrestle with his buddies all the time. And he says it a dozen times. He's like, I love jiu-jitsu. I love just doing jiu-jitsu. I love wrestling with my buddies. I love rolling on the mat. I love wrestling with my friends. I just love wrestling. By the 10th time he did it, I'm like, I don't think he does jiu-jitsu. I think he's confusing wrestling with his buddies.
I was going to say, jiu-jitsu is not hey, let's hang out and wrestle.
I don't know. I've never done it before. Wrestling did not seem like the right word to be using, and he said it so many times, and it was hilarious. And it was the family thing. He would just wedge it in there out of nowhere. He'd be like, yeah, people are coming to me with their problems every morning. If I lived and I just woke up, I look at my text messages and everybody wants me to solve a problem. And when that happens, I just go wrestle with my buddies. And then I'm ready to go solve
Hey, so you're
problems.
ignoring people need you in the office or something? It's like, I can't. I got to go wrestle with my buddies.
It's just so there you go. Next time you imagine Mark Zuckerberg, if you ever find yourself wondering what Mark Zuckerberg is doing at any moment during the day, apparently he's just running around wrestling with his buddies all the time. Can you imagine being friends with Mark Zuckerberg and him wanting to just like wrestle all day?
It's like the annoying friend, you see, man, he's gonna tackle me next time.
He's gonna try to wrestle me again, man. I can't wrestle Mark anymore. I'm at work.
Hey guys,
Mark.
Hey! He just comes at you and what? He just knocks you over and you guys are on the ground, or what's
it's
the
like
deal?
the programming was just like, what do human men like? They like to wrestle with their buddies. All right, enough about the wrestle with the buddies.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of it. He just very, very much this entire stunt was to convince everybody he was a human being. I'd say it's worth listening to, but keep an ear out for all those fun little details, and you'll have much more fun rather than listening to him talk about the metaverse.
Welcome to Chinese news.
It comes from China. It's not racist at all, no.
This is actually not exactly China. It's well, let me do this first, and then we'll get into it. The let's see, where did it go? South China Morning Post had this headline here. Ooh, that's not it. No, it's RT. Sorry, RT. Putin's propaganda. RT.com. The headline here: Drawing the sword. Is Japan getting ready to move against China? And
drawing the sword, very ominous.
A recent report suggests that Japan's government is considering positioning over 1,000 ballistic missiles aimed towards China, a move that will mark a major escalation in tensions between Tokyo and Beijing. It is unclear if this will ever materialize, given the threat to regional stability it would carry, as well as the limits imposed by Japan's own constitution. But by this point, it is undeniable that geostrategic competition between Japan and China is a new reality. The two countries may well be vastly economically integrated, but they are old enemies at heart, and their geopolitical ambitions are increasingly clashing across the board. And so, Japan post-World War II, they're kind of, beaten into submission, westernized heavily, and, becomes sort of the economic playground, so to speak, of the New World Order. That's how I would put it, with, the way their economy collapsed in the 80s and stuff like that. But very docile or passive when it came to military activity, and they've been kind of ramping up their military the last decade or so.
Weren't they restricted from building up an offensive?
Yeah.
That was part of the peace agreement,
right?
But I believe it was Obama that lifted some of those restrictions on Japan.
Might have been Obama. Might have been before that, maybe. But yeah, you're right. I think it was Obama.
10 years ago, it would have been Obama.
Right. So yeah, they've been building up some kind of military presence again, and I'm just concerned that because of sort of the historic categorization or perception of Japan, that they're going to be sort of the bait to really get into a heavy World War III, basically, in China. Because
you're right, aren't you?
Speaking of kamikaze, you know what I mean? Like, they can just sacrifice this little island nation and just say, hey, sorry, you guys were the bad guys. Now you guys are ours, and we're gonna use you to sort of provoke China. Or whatever, the controllers may have, different plans or different narratives to play with that, but it's just something to keep an eye on. And, it worries me.
What would China have to gain from attacking Japan?
I don't know.
They're pretty low on natural resources.
Yeah, Japan, well, the fish. maybe the fishing ports or something. But nothing tangible.
I guess maybe like a strategic position or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. But it's why. That is just such a good question. I mean,
also,
Japan is just going into a defensive position.
Right.
It seems almost as a provocation.
Yeah, and you talk about Taiwan, it's also in that general region, so Japan can act sort of like either a proxy or kind of a quasi location for any kind of Western force to occupy.
Well, we are officially allied with Japan.
Right.
Like if they attack Japan, we have to go to war.
Yeah. So
unlike Taiwan, we would choose to go to war over Taiwan, but we would be required to go to war to protect Japan.
Well, it's interesting because Japan is very similar to China in the way they responded to COVID. Severe lockdowns, very, tight restrictions on who can come in, who can come out, and, quarantine periods and stuff like that. It's very, very much in line with all that. So,
yeah.
Anyway, keeping an eye on that. And speaking of Japan here, I have this article from ny1.com. It's a New York outlet. And the headline here, Abe murder suspect says life destroyed by mother's religion.
Oh, this is the prime minister's assassin?
Former prime minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated, yeah. And remember, he was assassinated by a homemade gun.
Right, yes.
The brazen assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe with a handmade gun shocked a nation unused to high-profile political violence. But there has been another surprise in the weeks since the murder, as details have emerged about an alleged assassin who was well off until his mother's huge donations to the controversial Unification Church left him poor, neglected, and filled with rage.
Ooh.
Some Japanese have expressed understanding, even sympathy for the 41-year-old suspect, especially those of a similar age who may feel pangs of recognition linked to their own suffering during 3 decades of economic malaise and social turmoil. There have been suggestions on social media that care packages should be sent to suspect Tetsuya Yamagami detention center to Tetsuya Yamagami's detention center to cheer him up. That's so Japanese. It's such a Japanese thing to do.
I was going to say.
They say, I understand. Send them gifts. Cheer them up.
Send them some Pikachu lollipops and stuff.
Yeah. And more than 7,000 people have signed a petition requesting prosecutorial leniency for Yamagami, who told police that he killed Abe, one of Japan's most powerful and divisive politicians, because of his ties to an unnamed religious group widely believed to be the Unification Church. Experts say the Moonies. Yeah, the experts say the case has also illuminated the plight of thousands of other children of church adherents who have faced abuse and neglect. Now, the Moonies. We've talked about the Moonies before. I don't know that we've done a huge deep dive, but it's been on the radar. And something very interesting to keep in mind about the Unification Church, their fingerprints on U.S. media. And I bring you to the Harvard.edu.
This was very interesting.
Yeah, the Harvard.edu, the U.S. media ownership list that we've been referencing for pretty much every episode since we found it, and linked at the top of the show notes. And listed number 98 is the Washington Times. Now, I think most people would consider the Washington Times to be sort of neutral or conservative, right? Like a conservative outlet. But you look deeper, according to the Harvard.edu media ownership list, the Washington Times, it is currently owned by Operation Holdings, which is part of the Unification Religious Movement. Founded in 1982 and owned by the Rev. Sun Young Moon's Unification Church, the Times has never turned a profit, and the Post in 2002 estimated that the church had dumped $1.7 billion into its paper. 1.7 billion. So maybe, this Abe guy, the shooter of the Abe, the former prime minister, has a point in terms of, hey, my money is going to fund the Washington Post.
Yeah. That is
the Washington Times, not the Washington Post.
Yeah, Washington Times, not Washington Post.
Yeah,
we haven't brought a whole lot of reports from the Washington Post, but you see them all over the place.
We're both doing it. Washington Times, not the Post.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's easy to say Wapo. We got to come up with we just have to shorten it. It's Wati. Or Wa Times. Wa Times.
Washington Times. You see Washington Times articles floating around all the time.
All the time.
And we did not know until today that they were Well, I guess we found out last week that they're owned by the Moonies.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know, the Moonies is it's kind of an old school name for them, but I just have the Unification Church wiki pulled up here.
Yeah, I have it here too, yeah.
Okay. The Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, widely known as the Unification Church, is a new religious movement whose members are called Unificationists, or more widely known as Moonies. It was officially founded on the 1st of May,
Illuminati Day.
Yeah, May Day, 1954, under the name Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity in Seoul, South Korea, by Sun Myung Moon, rather. The beliefs, and then it kind of goes into the beliefs, but they were, of course, hugely controversial. They also played an outsized role in the Korean War,
right,
and influencing the Korean Peninsula. They were really big. They were even really big in the U.S. in like the 70s or something. Very, very interesting group that has had their fingers in a lot of sort of weird global elite things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Washington Times as well, apparently. American mainstream conservative media being owned by the Moonies is a very strange aspect of the life we are living in.
I know we're not doing Christian nationalism per se, but this is very similar.
That's
it
right
resonates
down
with the
their
Christian
aisle.
nationalism. Yeah,
right down the lane for the Moonies.
Yeah, so keeping an eye on the Washington Times and stories like this that come out that seem to indicate, again, a little bit more going on than meets the eye when people start talking about this stuff. And then before we jump into break here, I know we're behind. I have to do this.
Okay.
This is a must.
You're good.
Yes. This is the South China Morning Post, and the headline here: a bit weird. Chinese wildlife staff go viral for wearing panda suits smeared with bear feces and urine to reduce human impact.
Ah, yes.
Who is our knight of the Hungry Pandas?
Hungry Panda?
Yeah, we know what you're up to. Is it Sir Darren?
Yeah, these pictures. Now, Sir Darren, what is going on here, man? I've seen videos of the Chinese zookeepers. They dress up like pandas. They go take care of the pandas. It's just like to help them not get murdered by cute killer bears.
Is this like the origin of the flurries? Is this where it started?
You always call them the flurries. They're furries.
Furries, yeah.
Yeah, they're in like really, really cheap, scary, bad furry costumes of pandas. I did not know it was a regular practice to smear feces all over themselves. But, they'd say it's because the baby pandas can't tell the difference between a real bear and a person in a bear suit.
It's the most terrifying photos, too, of these guys.
They look like serial killers. They look like some sort of crazy murderers wearing a panda outfit.
The panda heist. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So I'm assuming that they explain why this is the case, right?
No.
Okay.
What's the South China Morning Post, too? It's a Chinese propaganda. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Sir Darren,
give us an explanation for
Give us a breakdown. Boots on the ground.
Inspiration.
The Hungry
Our panda expert knight over there.
At least he's not Knight of the Stinky Panda.
That's true. You're right. He's just hungry. He's not stinky. Or maybe he was fed by one of these guys without knowing it.
Oh my gosh! I'm just a hungry panda. All right, let's listen to some voicemails, baby.
I mean, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, give me a break. I need a break. Some speak pipe. Speak pipe.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Sir Darren's response is, people be weird. Yeah, it's true. All right. If you go to canarycrynewstalk.com, on the right-hand side or the bottom of the page, you'll see a green tab. You can click on that green tab and another button will come up, and you press that button, and then whatever you say in the following 90 seconds will be sent directly to us. That's right. It's a voicemail message. If you leave us a voicemail message, you are agreeing to let us play it on the show, but it's not guaranteed. Who do we got coming in?
Kick things off here. We got the Sentinel.
What's up, Basil and Gons and Canary Cry family? It's the Sentinel. Sorry if the quality is bad. I'm driving in the car. But hey, I was just thinking about the Burning Man festival and the lack of support. And I was listening to this other podcast called Ravel. It's with this guy. He's really smart, Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, I think is his name, and some other dude. And what Dr. Gates was talking about was the idea that we can receive a culture, we can reject a culture, or we can redeem a culture. And that could be an event too. And so the idea of Basil going to Burning Man is the idea of redeeming it. And I know that might sound weird to some of our listeners, but man, Basil can go there and he can be a Christ-like influence for a group of people that otherwise probably has few to no one in their life, actually confident and capable to share the gospel and represent Jesus in an accurate and authentic way. So I'm just going to be honest, those of you who are pulling support from Canary Cry strictly based off that, you're missing and you're misunderstanding just how great of an opportunity this is to build God's kingdom in some of the darkest places. So I just want you to consider that, consider supporting Canary Cry again, and consider supporting Basil as he goes to Burning Man.
Wow, what a wonderful message. I did not listen to these beforehand. Thank you very much, The Sentinel. Lots of nice things in there. I want to point out, I did enjoy how he phrased it, our producers.
Yes.
He was speaking as a producer, talking about our producers. I love that. And yeah, thank you very much. Wow, we got a Ravel fan. And I need to talk to Dr. Chris about Burning Man. Maybe that'll be the topic of one of our next episodes. We're supposed to have another one coming out this Sunday. Thank you very much, The Sentinel. What a thoughtful and uplifting message for me personally, at least.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and you know, applying some things that are that people are learning from the podcasts. Which is good.
Absolutely.
This is what we want. All right, thank you very much, Sentinel. We have one from Wandering Spirit Michael.
Hey, I just wanted both of your opinions on 1 Corinthians chapter 12, where it talks about people getting powers and stuff like healing and the ability to prophecy and all. I was just wondering do you think that's just during a certain time period, or is that still going on today, where people are getting these powers, like speaking in tongues and such? I'm just wondering your thoughts on that, and if there's a way to tell if it's from the enemy or from Yahuwah, our true creator. Thank you.
Well, that is the question, isn't it? And I don't think we can do enough to justify, at least from my end. I don't think
probably
I can
not
give
for now.
A proper sort of full answer to that right now. But
what is the name of this wonderful
Wandering
voicemail?
Spirit Michael?
Wandering Spirit Michael. I don't know if Wandering Spirit Michael is a listener of Ravel.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, didn't you just talk about this?
Our most recent episode is on Pentecost, and we did focus more on tongues than the other things, the other gifts of the Spirit, which mainly, I believe, shows up, 1 Corinthians 14, I believe, is when Paul is very explicit about speaking in tongues. But yeah, he's referring to 1 Corinthians 12, maybe 4, I think, is kind of where most people get it. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. Oh, my scrolling is out of control. Sorry. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in everyone, it is the same God at work, speaking about, prophecy and words of knowledge and miraculous and healing, signs and wonders, things like that, that the followers of Christ were working through, or the Father was working through them after the day of Pentecost. So yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big topic.
Hard to tackle with
the
a
fun
short
part. Yeah. The fun part is, so I grew up in the charismatic and Pentecostal traditions.
Right.
So the gifts of the Spirit stuff, I am no stranger to, and it was actually strange for me to go to churches that didn't have like speaking in tongues and prophecy and flags and things like that. And Christopher Ryan Gates, Christopher Ryan Gates.
I like that. His Chris Doctopher.
He grew up Southern Baptist. So they're pretty much polar opposites as far as the Holy Spirit working in those ways nowadays. There are whole divisions and denominations based around this exact question. I can say that whatever the Lord wants to happen certainly can and does happen. So if the Lord wants, these gifts of the Spirit to be active on earth, they certainly will be. And I think that's about as good as I can do right now.
Yeah.
But go listen to Ravel. Another great advertisement for Ravel.
Yeah. I think that there's, oh gosh, I don't want to go on a whole long thing, but yeah, I'm open to the possibilities of modern miracles and everything else. But ironically enough, though, I think the heart of the people who pursue this type of experience or whatever it may be is, I think their heart is in the right place. But sometimes, again, ironically enough, it's almost like seeking fleshly confirmation of stuff. So if your faith is based on whether a miracle happens or not, or something like that, you might be kind of missing the point of Christ, but not necessarily unsaved. You know what I mean? So it's a very complicated, and again, you're right. There's been denominations built on this
classic non-denom response there, Gons. I'm sorry, I read the wrong scripture before. Verse 7. Now to each one the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good, which is a detail that
so if there's fruit out
can
of
be
it,
missed. For the common good, to one there is given through the Spirit a message of wisdom, to another a message of knowledge by means of the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit. I mean, and that's the funny part. Faith is actually a spiritual gift in the same context. So, prophesying and faith are co-equal gifts given by the Spirit. To another, gifts of healing by that one Spirit. To another, miraculous powers. To another, prophecy. To another, distinguishing between spirits, that's discernment. To another, speaking in different kinds of tongues. And to still another, the interpretation of tongues, which they must go hand
in hand. Yeah, right.
All these are the work of one and the same Spirit, and he distributes them to each one just as he determines. Talking about the Holy Spirit there. I will say one thing that always I like to bring up, whether it needs to be brought up or not, the Lord will judge in the end. But a lot of people either don't know or don't remember the unforgivable sin that Jesus taught the disciples.
Yeah, and I know where you're going with this.
Yeah,
it's,
the unforgivable sin is calling that is of God as if it were the devil or of devils. So
specifically the Holy Spirit, I believe.
The Holy Spirit, yeah. And so it's, if you're going to go strictly by Scripture, it's a pretty dangerous game calling somebody speaking in tongues or a healing miracle or a word of knowledge or something like that. Literally, if that is, if you're so confident to call that, the work of the devil or something, you better be pretty confident, because that is explicitly the one unforgivable sin, which still makes me pucker up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's Mark 3:29. I think it's mirrored in Matthew.
Blaspheming the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, right? Blaspheming the Holy Spirit. So, there's all. Yeah, we've had these conversations. I feel like we've had these conversations either on air or just you and I chatting.
10 years of podcasting, we've talked about everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yes, already, good question. And yes, there's a lot to it. So yeah, and also it kind of depends on how you define miracle. Are we talking about miracles like supernatural miracles, like you see someone floating, and, or are we talking somebody just healing spiritual, so there's all kinds of different
I will
ways.
say this, Gons.
Yeah.
I will say this, and this is to find a bit of a compromise for people on both sides. In my growing up in the Pentecostal and charismatic churches, I have seen incredible things and experienced incredible workings of the Holy Spirit that I have no explanation for. And I have seen huge fakers and liars and con men. So I've seen all sides of this.
Right.
So I do want to be clear. I am compassionate to those who don't buy it because they've never had an experience like that. Any one of the gifts of the Spirit, you really got to experience to really fully understand.
Sure.
Either being around it or experiencing it yourself, whatever. Yeah. So I do have total compassion for people who aren't buying it. But I have had a lot of experiences that I can't quite write everything off.
Yeah.
In fact, quite the opposite. Okay. Any other voicemails?
Yeah, we got one. Thank you, by the way, from Wandering Spirit Michael. Appreciate the question. Also, we got one more from Rochelle.
Happy Friday, everyone. Today, I just wanted to read the very first verse of our Bible. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And I wanted to talk to you about that word beginning. In Hebrew, it's pronounced Bereshit. And as I mentioned before in these talks, each letter in the Hebrew alphabet represents not only a sound, like our letters, or a number, it also represents a word, a meaning, like a symbol meaning. So, Bereshit is spelled Beit, Resh, Aleph, Shin, Yud, Tav. Basically, Brasyt. The letter Bet means house or tent. Resh means head or the highest person. Aleph means strength. It's God's letter, like a bull or an ox. Shin means to destroy or consume. And Tav means a mark or a covenant or a cross. So if you take the word beginning and its symbols and put them together, it says, the Son of God will be destroyed by his own hand on a cross. So God really does tell us the end from the beginning. To God be the glory. You guys stay strong for Jesus. Thank you for all your work. And thank you, producers.
Wow.
And thank you very much, Rochelle.
Wonderful.
Appreciate that.
Love those
awesome.
lessons, Rochelle.
Cool.
Okay, we got a couple more people to thank who are on streaks and came in under the 777 cutoff.
It's time for a break.
Short one.
Starting off, Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 187.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
87 episodes in a row. I like you just started a break within a break. We are break inception now. Veronica D, 136. Veronica D, 163 episodes in a row.
Women rule.
Thank you, Veronica
The
D.
other streak sister, Gail M, 163 episodes in a row.
Women rule.
Thank you, Gail M.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 198 in a row.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
Last but not least, Runk Smash, 24 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
That concludes our list of financial producers for this episode. Thank you guys so much for participating in the value for value model. We could not do the show without you. And if anybody wants to come in, produce the show, go ahead. Head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
Canary.
GenericCryRadio.com/support. And thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
At this point, we may need to say farewell to YouTube. I know.
Yeah, sorry, we forgot to give a heads up. We are going to be doing COVID Waccine segment now, which means we have to get off of YouTube or else Susan will kick us off of YouTube herself. So head on over to DLive if you want your chat to be showing up on the screen. If you don't care about that, you can go over to Rumble. We're still over there on Rumble as well. And Odyssey, I believe we're still on Odyssey. I'm going to pop the DLive link into the chat here for you YouTubers. Boop. Okay, there you go. And we'll see you guys over there. Because what is to follow is too hot for YouTube.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at canarycry.party as well.
Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
It's Corona time. COVID